Hello. Um, I'm sorry I haven't really been online recently. I just haven't come up with a good idea for a video until I got into fighting, and I was like, um, I've been looking up tutorials for how to play characters, and 98% of them I didn't really understand, and so I want to take a tutorial for every character that makes sense, at least in my opinion. Um, and I want it to be able to be comprehensible by like a beginner to the game, you know. So if you've never played the game before, then I hope you're able to understand this. I explain things in a very weird way sometimes, and I apologize. I'm sorry. Um, but anyways, we're gonna be talking about the first character, which is Sword, and he's a melee character. Um, if you want to get into the melee characters, I recommend starting out with Sword. He's like the simplest melee character, kind of, except for maybe one. But I'll get to him later. So every character has a passive and a finisher, a secondary, a Q ability, and an E ability. A sword's passive is Spirit of the Sword, which, as you do damage, it charges up this meter in the middle, and if you press R, it makes all of your attacks more powerful. Something that I don't think the passive mentions is that you can press R to go back out of it. So if you accidentally press R and you meant to use like your base M2 ability, then you can just switch back out of it. And also, if you press R, it resets your cooldowns. But if you try to go back, unless the cooldown like would have already been up, then it doesn't reset them. And so his M1 just makes him swing a sword. It's really good for trying to charge up the It's really good for charging up the Spirit of the Sword. And then his M2 makes a projectile. It's pretty good for initiating fights, but it also is able to go through walls. So you see that guy right there? You see that guy right there? And then I goes behind the wall. It's able to go through walls, so you should use it through walls to catch your enemies off guard. And then when it's charged up, it acts like a boomerang, basically. I missed. Oh, so uh, you shoot it where you're looking, and then it goes back to wherever you are. I just learned something new today. Uh, sorry. Um, his Q ability just makes him go up, and anyone caught in that area goes up a little bit with him and takes damage. Uh, and when it's charged up, it just brings them with him. I wouldn't. I normally use my charged up for my either a passive that I like to use or my M2. I would use your Q ability to get up on walls like that to get away from people. And that's what I use it for most of the time. And then the E ability is the exact same, but instead of going up, it goes over. So I use it for the exact same reasons. I just use it as a getaway tool. So like that. Uh, but when it's charged up, it also does the exact same thing. It just brings people with them, and it does extra damage. All of its abilities charge up, do extra damage. Uh, there is one combo I like to do with these though. I like to, and, oh yeah, but there's one combo I like to do with these. I like to, I pressed the wrong button. But anyways, I like to dash into them, use my Spirit of the Sword ability, and then press my Q ability. I did it wrong there because I wasn't far enough away. Because if you hit an enemy, unless you have it charged up, your E ability just doesn't stop until it reaches a certain point. But if you're far enough away, you can use it as a really good damaging tool, and you can use like your M2 to finish them off, and then just chase them with your sword. And then his passive, um, he does this, and he's able to throw a sword. It instantly makes his Spirit of the Sword meter go all the way up, and it makes an explosion that does really good damage. I like to use it to just right after I already used a Spirit of the Sword attack to make it sorry, to make it so that I just have another one right out the gate. Um, that's what I like to do with it. But the explosion can be really good if you're trying to like get people off of the point. The explosion also does damage you, so be careful about that. And then the next character is Skateboard. He is the hardest character in the game, in my opinion. I think it's generally considered he's the hardest character in the game. His passive, at least off board, is sluggish, which makes it to where whenever he's walking, he gains speed, but if he stops walking, he loses all of that haste. Um, and then his M1 off board, which makes him swing his board, is pretty good damage for an M1. And then his M2 can charge it up, and if it hits someone, it stuns them and does really good damage. And then his Q ability just makes him dashboard. It does damage if it hits someone and makes him stop if it hits someone too. And then his E ability puts him on his board, and you can see that meter right there. That's how fast he's going. And I don't know, it's really finicky, in my opinion, because if it goes to 0, I either just get kicked off of the board or just stop moving. So I don't know, just don't go to 0 speed. Just if you want to get off the board, just swap off the board. But anyways, his passive is stuntish on the onboard, and basically if you fall off a ledge and press space, you do a trick, and when you land back on the ground, it gives you 10 speed. So like this. Uh, Also, if you ram into people on the board, it does damage. Um, his M2 ability makes him jump in the air, and if you use it right after a trick, it does this. And instead of getting 10 speed, he gains 15 speed. His Q ability makes him charge up and go forward. Again, it gives him 8 additional speed if fully charged up, and you should just fully charge it up. It's not like it doesn't do damage anyways. And the 8 speed is much more valuable than like the 3 speed or whatever it gives you just instantly. If you just instantly use it, so I would highly recommend just always fully charging it up. It's always the best option. And then his E ability just makes him go off of the board. But if you use the E ability, so I'm on the board right now, and if I hold the E ability down, it makes him do damage. And so what I like to do as skateboard is just go around and try and do a bunch of chip damage by ramming into people. Um, and just always do tricks whenever you see a ledge. Always do a trick to gain speed. You want to be as fast as you can so that the enemies can't see you coming. And if you see a really low HP enemy trying to retreat or something, then what you do is you use the E ability and charge it up, and then try to hit him with an M2. It's fine if you can't, because most of the time you're not able to hit them with the M2. If you aren't able to hit them with the E ability or the M2, I would recommend getting back on the board and trying to get out, because unless they're like super low, then it could be very dangerous to proceed, because offboard, skateboard doesn't have any survivability options. But then once you do um the secondary offboard, just start trying to beat them, and if they start going away, use your Q ability, and if they're somehow super far away, just get back on your board and repeat the cycle until they get eliminated. That's how I like to play skateboard. It's probably not the okay. I'm dead. It's probably not the most optimal way to play skateboard, but that's just how I play him. And his finisher automatically puts him on the board, and it makes you saw like the red stuff. And if it hits somebody, if someone is in the red area when he goes forward, it does damage to them, and it also makes him really fast for a second. I don't really know the best use case for his finisher. I just use it if I like need speed and there's not that many enemies nearby, so they can't really do that much damage to me. Yeah, skateboard is the hardest in my opinion. I would not pick him up if you're a beginner. And then there is Biograph. Biograph is one of my least favorite characters in the game. I think he is my least favorite character because he's supposed to be a glass cannon, but I don't think he does enough damage to make up for having such low sustainability. His passive is Power of Biograph's Heat, and whenever it does damage, it fills up that meter right there, as you can see. And the more full that meter is, the faster he's able to attack. And if the meter is full, he explodes and damages the people around him, but he also damages himself. And that's where Biograph's kit fails, in my opinion, because if you're doing damage, good damage, you're killing yourself basically. Unless you just intentionally like edging it so that it doesn't explode. The explosion doesn't do that much damage, but if you're already in like fighting an enemy, you're gonna have low HP. So the explosion, you might just kill yourself with the explosion. So that's where his kit falls short in my opinion. But his rest of his abilities are pretty fine. Like his M2, uh, it goes out a certain distance, and if someone gets caught by it, it does a lot of damage to them. His Q ability, if it hits someone, it does 15 damage to them. And if it's able to hit someone when they're below 25% HP, it teleports a biograph to them if they recast it, and it instantly kills them. So, like this, I'm, yeah, they made me dead. So if they're below 25% HP, you hit them like that, and you're able to teleport to them. And if they, well, you're able to teleport to them anyways, but if they're below 25% HP, you just instantly kill them. And his E ability is a teleport. Pretty simple. It takes one of those charges away, so you can teleport twice in a row. Uh, it's a pretty good getaway option. And then his finisher makes him attack really, really quickly, but he is constantly losing HP. Uh, and you can stop the finisher by recasting it, and it makes a really big explosion. Uh, Pretty simple kit. You're supposed to just kind of dive bomb the enemies. Pretty simple. I don't really like it that much because of the explosions, but I know a lot of people do like him. Uh, I think I just have a skill issue. Anyways, then there is Katana, and Katana is one of my favorite melee characters. It's maybe except for Skateboard. Katana, his passive is Looming Misfortune, which basically whenever he hits someone, it makes a mark of Looming Misfortune, and it can stack up to 5 times, and every mark makes him do more damage. Basically, pretty good. He's a pretty good damaging move, and then his M2 makes him. You can hold it down, and if you hold it down and make him swing 5 times, and he moves forward slightly whenever he uses it. His M2, if you don't charge it at all, it just makes it a simple slash. I don't. It's pretty bad if you don't charge it at all. And if you charge it a little bit, he goes a pretty fair distance in that direction, in the direction you're looking. But most of the time, you're gonna want to charge it up fully because it makes him do 6 slashes, and he still goes in the direction you're looking in. So most of the time, you just want to charge it up fully. But I can see how there'll be some exceptions. His Q ability makes him throw like a harpoon kind of, and bring them the person that hits towards Katana, and it applies a stack of Looming Misfortune. So this is like Katana's like entire thing. He's supposed to just kind of sit on the point and bring opponents towards him and kill them. And then his E ability helps him do that. He makes a windshield, and see that bar? It deflects projectiles, and that bar determines like how long the windshield is able to last. And if enemies walk through it, they get a stack of Looming Misfortune. So if you harpoon someone through it, they get. But if you harpoon someone through it, they get an additional stack of Looming Misfortune. So you're just supposed to be sitting somewhere in a wide open area, having your windshield out, and then always trying to harpoon someone through the windshield. Um, that's how I play him at least. But I can see how the windshield could be played much more as a defensive tool rather than an offensive tool. But I don't play with it that way. I play with it as an offensive tool. And his finisher makes it to where it's kind of like his M2, where he dashes forward. And if someone is in the area where he goes like I was like right here and it hit right there, it goes really far. It has like a much bigger hitbox than you expect. And anyone in it gets 5 stacks of Looming Misfortune, and he does a lot of damage to them. So I would recommend using it if a lot of opponents are grouped together. You can also use it as a mobility tool, but I wouldn't recommend doing that because it kind of just wastes your finisher. Katana's a really cool character. I kind of, if you're okay at the game, I would recommend him because he is very valuable for the team because he's able to pick off like medkits and fire staffs and stuff like that. He's really cool. And then Banhammer is the other one I was talking about when I was talking about Sword. It's just a super easy one. And basically, every kill he gets increases the amount of shield he has. He isn't able increases the amount of shield he has. I'm pretty sure that applies to all characters, but you're gonna want to know this for Banhammer because it's the most important thing on his kit. His passive is Oathbound, which makes it to where he takes a lot less knockback but he doesn't naturally regen shield. Also, your shield can kind of go more than its maximum. So by getting kills, you're able to increase your HP if you're at full HP. His M1 just makes him swing his hammer forward. Pretty basic stuff. Does really good damage though. And his M2 makes him swing his hammer down. Does pretty good damage. Has low charge up, so it's pretty good for a combo. It's pretty good for whenever you're whenever you're just getting into a fight. And his Q ability makes him fly forward and swing his hammer down at the apex of where he flies. But you're able to cancel it and make him slam down automatically by recasting the ability. So you press Q, and then you press Q again, and he just instantly slams down. It can be really, really useful when you're. It's really, really useful whenever you're like trying to initiate a fight. And then his E ability makes him swing, and if you hold the ability down, it makes him swing for longer, or it makes him spin in a circle. And if you are doing damage while you're spinning in that circle, it makes him spin for longer too. So it's a really good damaging tool. You should use it like whenever you can, basically. Uh, and then his finisher, if they're whenever you cast it, it does a little bit of damage, and if their HP and shield combined is less than 50% of their HP, it instantly kills them. So and if you kill someone with it, you can use it again, and you can use it again up to 5 times. In most case scenarios, you're not going to be using this more than like 2 times at max, unless you're just like really, really lucky. But it can still be pretty useful because it just does damage initially. So even if you didn't actually hit the finisher, it still does damage. So I use it 5 times, and then as you can see, instead of just giving me another one, it just removed it from me. But Banhammer is a really simple kit. If you're a newbie and you just want to try and do as much damage as possible, I'd recommend Banhammer. Just try and play a little careful. Like, keep your shield in mind, because you can't just run away to regen it. So you need to always be in the front lines trying to get kills. Or else you're gonna die. And then for the range characters, the first one is Rocket. If you're trying to get into a range character, I would recommend Rocket. I don't like Rocket that much, but that's just because I'm kind of bad at the game. His passive is Eager Rocketeer, which makes it to where whenever he gets a kill, he gains some haste. So look at the top of the screen, you'll be able to see the haste icon. He gains haste, so he moves faster. It reloads some bullets, and he has a faster fire rate. Pretty good. His M1 ability makes him shoot a rocket, and he has a limited amount of ammo. So if you use up all of the ammo, you can't shoot it. And if you press R, you can reload. And he reloads really, really quickly. His M2 makes him charge up like a really, really big rocket that does really big damage. It has like a really big AoE area of effect. And his Q ability just makes him launch himself up. It does do damage to him, so I would use it very sparingly. Also, all of his abilities can do damage to him if you're too close. So you probably want to use it to get away, and then you can start shooting. And then his E ability makes it to where he can makes him shoot 3 rockets really quickly. And it suspends him in the air. So if you use your Q ability and then your E ability, he'll just stay in the air. So it's really useful. It's really useful if you're trying to just have domination over the battlefield. And then his F ability makes sure to point it up, and if you shoot, it just makes a bunch of rockets. So I would recommend Rockets kits for newbies. I don't personally like it that much, but I would recommend him if you're trying to learn a range character. And then Slingshot. He is my favorite. He's like one of my favorite characters to play in the entire game, but I'm not good at him at all. So he's not really my main. But his passive is Quick Feet, which gives him a double jump, and as you can see, that little bar that went down whenever I double jump. If I try and double jump again, I can't until that bar is filled. And if you hold space in the air, you can walk on it, but the bar goes down more, and I can't even double jump until the bar is filled up. So you can use the double jump to try and get vantage points in the air to be able to snipe people, kind of. Um, but if you use it and then someone tries to kill you, unless you use a tech that I will show you in a minute, then there's nothing you can really do except just trying to run away. Uh, his M1 makes him charge up a slingshot, and as you can see, there's a meter below. If that meter is full, it does 26 damage, but you can also just spam it, which does a lot less damage. So in my opinion, you should be charging it up and then shooting. And then his M2 is very similar, but his M1, you can hold it forever if you wanted to. His M2 makes it to where he stops all movement, and he charges it up, but it'll automatically fire after a little bit, and it ricochets off. And if other people are nearby, it'll ricochet onto them. It does really good damage if you fully charge it up. You should always be trying to fully charge it up. And then his Q ability propels him in the air a little bit and shoots a bunch of slingshots, and they ricochet. Um, and so, in theory, you could use it to try and hit people through walls. I'm not that good at it, but like, if but you can use it to like shoot right here, and it would bounce and like hit the band hammer right there or something. And then his E ability just makes him dash forward. Pretty good, initiating, and pretty good tool to initiate fight. But also, if you stand still and look up, he goes much higher than he should. It excuse me. It only works if you're standing still. And it's next called dolphin jumping. So what you can do is you can jump and then do that, and you go much higher than you should. It's like it's higher than double jumping. So as you can see, I can't reach it normally, but if I jump but if I do the dolphin jump, I can reach up there normally. And then his finisher makes it to where he goes 2 times faster. And he can still use for about 20 seconds, and he can still use all of his abilities. And his M1 is replaced with a giant laser beam, and he can fire it 3 times until the finisher is forced ended. If he fires it, if he fires his M1 3 times before 20 seconds happen, it'll automatically stop the finisher. You should not instantly use your M1 as slingshot. You should not instantly use it because you're missing out on the opportunity of being able to be so much faster and escape so much more situations and initiate so much situations. You should use all 3 of your lasers, but you shouldn't instantly use them. And also, he lets him see through walls, and the lasers can go through walls. So you can use it to like sneak up on enemies, kind of. It does pretty good damage. So Slingshot, he's a really fun character. He's another pretty simple one. So if you don't like how Rocket playstyle is, then you should play Slingshot if you're a beginner. And then there's Hyper Laser, which is the sniper class. Um, his passive is locked and loaded, and it does additional damage on headshots. Um, and he has 3 bullets. And if you get a headshot, your first bullet is charged up, and it should instantly come out. I don't know why he didn't there. And he has 3 bullets, so 1, 2, 3, and he reloads them all at once, and he reloads them really quickly. So it shouldn't really matter. And his M2 makes it to where he fires this bullet. It does more damage than just body shots, but less damage than headshots, and it can't headshot. So it's really good if you're not able to get headshots, or if you're out of bullets, then you can use it as like a 4th bullet kind of. And then his Q ability makes him throw like a little grenade, and if anyone is in that range, it pushes them out a little bit, and it does damage to them. It's really good for a melee option if someone is trying to be aggressive with you. And then his E ability, if you're sliding down a ledge, it'll make you like slide. Else, it'll make you just move quicker, I believe. And then his finisher makes it to where the next shot he shoots will charge up way longer, but it'll guarantee kill. And if he kills someone with it, the next shot he shoots will guarantee kill. And then the next shot he shoots will guarantee kill. Until he's used his entire cartridge, if you're able to consistently hit your shots with that, you're able to just get 3 guaranteed kills. It's That's my favorite part about his kit. But I don't really like sniper classes in video games because I can't aim. I'm gonna be 100% honest with you guys. Um, but if you like sniper classes, then I would really recommend Hyper Laser. The only problem is that people try to push him like a lot, so you're gonna have to get really good at sliding and going away and shooting your grenade, and trying to shoot close up. You're gonna have to get really good at trying to shoot close up. Uh, and then there is Shuriken. His passive lets him stick to walls by jumping on the wall. So like, if I jump towards the wall, it doesn't do anything. But if I jump while I'm touching the wall, it lets me stick on the wall for a few seconds. Um, and his M1 makes him throw 3 shurikens. And as you can see, there's a little shuriken counter right there. But one of those indicators is 3 shurikens. I used to think that 3 shurikens was 3 of those, but it's not. So, and also he takes a while to reload. Like I think he has like one of the longer reload times. And his M2 lets him backstab just like Team Fortress 2, but instead of insta killing, it just does more damage than front stabbing. His Q ability makes him shoot out like a little harpoon, kind of like katana, and tether to a wall, so he's able to do it from afar away. And his E ability makes him go invisible for a few seconds, and if he attacks, he instantly becomes visible. Um, and his finisher makes shurikens around him, and if people get hit by the shurikens, they do damage, and eventually they just shoot where he's looking. He's kind of like a stealth class. I don't really like the stealth classes in most games like this, but if you do, then he's the class that you should play. I don't really recommend him for beginners though, because you need to be very stealthy to play him, and that can be kind of difficult if you don't know what you're doing. And then Scythe, her passive is eyes on the target. Uh, and as you can see, this thing, if you do damage to that person, it does additional damage and it gives you bullets. And you can see your bullet count right below the crosshair. And your bullets will slowly go up. And her M1 on the scythe just makes her swing the scythe forward. It's not that deep. I'm pretty sure you do more damage if you do it from as far away as possible. Um, her M2 lets you switch to a gun. And her abilities, so as you can see, I killed that guy, so my target switched to that guy. But her abilities, you can recast them if you have enough bullets. So her Q ability is to go into the air. But if you have enough bullets, you can do it more. So let me show you. Um, but if you press the ability button again, it should make me go up and use more bullets. But her E ability makes her dash forward, and you can dash forward again by using bullets. So bullets are literally everything for Scythe. If you don't have bullets, then you're not gonna be able to do good. At least with if you don't have bullets, then you need to get the bullets. And her finisher in Scythe form makes her go invisible and move faster. And if she attacks, she hits the if her target is in like this range, she'll go to the target and do damage to them and get a lot of bullets. And then her M2 makes her switch to her gun, which shoots really quickly, but it becomes less and less accurate the longer you're shooting it. M2, she switches to the scythe. Her Q ability is kind of like hyper lasers, where she charges up a shot and shoots. And then her E ability makes like kind of an exploding shot, I think, where if it hits something, it'll make like more tiny bullets. Um, if you're not attacking your target, like if you're attacking the target, you're gonna want to use your scythe. Because though, yeah, because you don't get bullets back if you shoot your target, but you get more bullets if you hit them with your scythe. So if you're attacking your target, you want to hit them with your scythe. But if you're not attacking your target, you're gonna want to shoot them. And then let me show you the gun mode finisher. So it switches to gun mode, and this makes a bunch of bullets everywhere. Um, I personally think that her scythe mode finisher is a lot better. And then there's the support characters. The first one is Medkit, and I would not recommend playing him if you cannot get headshots. It's as simple as that. His passive basically makes it to where if you get headshots with your gun, it heals the person closest to the person that gets headshot. And since I am the only one there, it just automatically targets me. Um, and it will do that in the game if you're the closest. So I would recommend trying to stay a pretty fair distance away. So if you get headshots, you're able to heal your teammates. And if you shoot your teammates, you're able to heal them too. But headshots heal them more. And his M2 ability makes him unload his entire chamber. It's really good if you want to like really quickly kill someone, but unless you have a full chamber, you shouldn't use it. Uh, and his Q ability makes him teleport to an ally. So as you can see, that square is on that guy, and if I press Q, it makes me teleport to him, and it heals me and him. And his E ability, he throws down a thing, and anyone in it, that is your allies, it heals you and any of your allies in it. So pretty good for self-sustainability. And his finisher, let me get it real quick. Um, his finisher basically makes it to where if you use it after someone dies, he can revive them. So let me get it real quick so I can show you. So I'm just gonna wait for this person to die. Shoot him, come on, shoot him. I know you want to. He died. I used the finisher, and he gets revived. So pretty good. Medkit is a good healer, but if you're not able to get your headshots, you shouldn't play medic. If you're not able to get headshots, you should play Vine Staff if you want to be healer. The next support is Boombox, and his passive is Remixing Blitz. So basically, whenever he does one of his special moves, if you're able to perfectly time a normal attack, right after, it makes it more powerful. And if someone gets an assist with you, so like if you damage someone and then the other person gets the kill, whoever did the most damage to that person, so if there's like multiple people that got the assist, uh, the person who got the most damage with the assist, it makes their ult charge up faster. So he's pretty useful. Uh, I don't if I'm playing with a boombox, I don't really see the ult. I don't really feel the ult charge up faster, but it apparently does happen. So it can be pretty useful to play with the boombox. His M2 makes him pull people in, and it makes a line to them, so you can tell where they are. His Q ability pulls people in and puts them in the air. And his E ability makes a line, and if your teammates are walking on it, it makes them faster. If your opponents are walking on it, it makes them slower. Um, so yeah, pretty simple kit. You're just supposed to try and do as much damage as possible on. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention his M1. If you click it, it makes an AOE attack in front of them. Pretty simple. If you're good at rhythm games, then you should play him. And yeah, that's kind of it. If you're good at rhythm games, you should play him. And if you want to support your team. And his finisher is Vending Tacos, and it makes this giant area around him. And if you're able to perfectly make, if you're able to perfectly do 5 attacks, you can do it again, and it puts him up into the air, and pulls all enemies close to him, and makes him slam down and do damage to them. So yeah, he's pretty good. I like playing him sometimes if I'm bored of a bunch of other characters. Uh, and then my person, oh no, not my personal name. Then there is Subspace. He is the easiest support character in my opinion. He is area denial. So his passive makes it to where he gets more HP whenever he gets a kill. So if he gets an assist, he gets HP, and if he gets a normal kill, he gets more HP. This is not what he looks like normally. Let me put the normal skin on him real quick. Um, so his M1 makes him shoot like a little star forward, and if it doesn't hit someone, it goes there and it uses up one of the stars. And if you miss 5 times, then you can't shoot any more stars. You can't. Well, you can, but if you shoot another star, it just replaces the oldest one. And if you reload, they'll explode and do AoE damage and poison damage. And if you just directly hit someone, it does a lot of damage too. And AoE damage around them. So you're going to want to be directly hitting people most of the time. And his 2 ability makes a little star, and hit someone, they go flying into the air. I will not recommend using this on your opponents because it gives them the advantage point, but you can use it on yourself. So if you go into the area, you can have the advantage point, but it does damage you. And also puts you in the air, so you're easier target to hit. But so if you have high HP, I'd recommend using it so you can use your other abilities. And then Q ability makes a giant poison thing, and anyone inside of it, including yourself, takes poison damage, and it lasts for a few seconds. And its E ability makes them really quick, and if you run into someone while using the E ability, it does damage. You should really not try to be using it to do damage. You should try to use it to get away. And his finisher makes it to where anyone nearby it gets sucked up into the black hole and takes passive damage. It's just it's the best finisher in the game. Like no, there's no contest. It's the best finisher in the game. Uh, so subspace is area denial because if you miss, that's just another area where people have to be careful walking around because if you just randomly reload, they explode and take a lot of damage. And also his Q ability can just literally section off it can literally just make it to where enemies can't go, or like entire sections of the control point and stuff like that. So he's area denial. He's really fun, especially if you're a beginner. If you're a beginner and you want to play support, play subspace, or Vine Staff, which is my personal main. If you want to play a healer and you're a beginner, play Vine Staff. Do not play medic, especially if you cannot headshot. Vine Staff's passive is uh, Death Brings Life, and as you can see at the bottom of like the little sheets, there's a number. It says 9 out of 12, and if I shoot someone, and changes to 10 or 11 or 12, and every 12 damage grants another seed for beginning anew, which is your M2. Um, and her M1 just makes her shoot these little pellets that there's 50 bullets in total before she has to reload. Um, they do less than average damage, so I wouldn't use it as a damaging tool, but you should be constantly trying to do damage with it so that you can get beginning anew. But you should also remember that you're a healer, and if you shoot people with it, it heals them. So you should also remember to try and heal people too. Her M2 is beginning anew, and every seed shard she has lets her plant a seed. Every seed on the field makes her move faster. Uh, and whenever she does 12 damage with it, it brings them into another stage. Anyone nearby, when they're going into another stage, gets healing. And as you can see, they go into another stage. And uh, in the third stage, they explode, and anyone nearby them on their team gets healing. Um, you should be constantly using this. Every time you have a seed charge, you should not have a seed charge anymore. You need to be constantly putting these down to be able to get the most healing for your teammates, because with these, they don't have to be nearby you to be able to get heals. Uh, and there's another ability that can combo really well into this because if you're, I'll explain it later. But your Q ability makes it AoE where she's looking, and if it hits people, it makes a little lotus on them. And by damaging them, you get life. Anybody who damages them gets lifesteal on them. Uh, you should use it whenever you're getting chased by somebody. Okay. You should use it whenever you're getting chased by somebody. That's the best use case for this. But you should also use it just naturally. Like if you notice, like a biograph or like a main damage dealer is really low on HP, then you should use this on the person they're targeting so that they can get more HP. And then her E ability makes 3 slow sprouts, and if they hit someone, they make them move faster because they're rooted. And if it hits one of your seeds, it makes them instantly explode, which is, and it makes them instantly explode. So you don't have to do the more damage. You can just hit them, and it'll get the buff to the person. So if you know you can't use your M1 to heal them, and you are too far away from any enemies, you can use this on a sprout that they're nearby to give them the healing. So it's really good. It's pretty hard to use. I wouldn't. It's pretty hard to be able to synchronize that, but it's still really good. And then her finisher makes a giant lotus flower. Anybody, any of your allies near the lotus flower will make a beginning anew. So if I'm not the vine staff and I walk into this area, I plant a beginning anew. Any beginning anew is you plant in this area is automatically made in second stage, and it makes a little wave every so often that heals any of your allies that are in it. Vine staff, if you're trying to play a healer and you can't get headshots and stuff like that, I would heavily recommend Vine staff. I think she's a better healer overall because she doesn't have to be right next to the person to be able to get heals from them. I think she's a better healer overall, but if you're able to get headshots, um, and you generally stay close to your team, then medikit works too. And then the final character, Coil. Coil is considered to be one of the hardest characters in the game. I do not think he's the hardest character in the game. I think Skateboard is the hardest character in the game, but I think he's a close second. So basically, his passive lets him switch between three different coils. He starts off on gravity, which makes him jump higher, and it's supposed to be like damage dealing one. Then there is you can get pretty high at this. Speed makes him quicker. Gravity does 18 damage every hit. Speed does 9 damage, but you're able to attack a lot faster. And health does 12 damage and has about the same attack speed as gravity. And healing. Something real quick in ability, and also the more damage you do, the higher your grade is. And the higher your grade is, just the better your coil gets. So like, I'm grade S, and I can jump really, really high, and I move really, really fast on speed. So try and keep your grade up at least an A at most times, so that you're able to use your coils most effectively. And then, I'm kind of skipping around a little bit, but his Q ability makes a tether, and these are the entire reason why Coil is a support character. So the tethers give the person you're tethered to the buff of your coil. So if this person was moving around, they would be moving around a lot faster. And you can also switch between coils, and your tether doesn't change. So if you know someone needs heals, but you don't, you can give them the heal tether and then go to gravity or speed to do more damage. Um, really good. It's just good. Um, so gravity coils moves. Whatever. I'm not gonna tell you. Gravity coils moves is his M2 makes him go up, and his E ability, while grounded, pulls enemies in, and he makes it fit. It punches the ground, and the E ability makes him watch where he's going, and if he hits an enemy, he bounces off of them. So a pretty good combo you can do in gravity is M2 and E. Um, Pretty good combo you can do, and then his speed coil. It doesn't have what you're supposed to do is it's kind of like a worse version of skateboard, kind of. You're supposed to just pick people with the speed coil. So this E ability just makes him dash forward, and his M2 makes him dash forward and punch. So you could use those in combo together, so to do damage and get up close to enemies. Um, Pretty good. I like to switch between. I personally like to stay on speed most of the time because I like the quick hits. But if you want more damage, then stay on gravity. And if you need heals, then go to heal. Shield coil makes a projectile that you can shoot out to do damage, and a shield that blocks all damage, not just from the front, all damage from any direction, and makes a little bar below his grade. And if he takes damage, it fills up the bar, and the bar is completely filled up. The shield instantly breaks, and it raises his grade by 1 level. Uh, so pretty good. Um, if you're in a situation where you know, even if you're using the speed coil, you aren't able to run away, then just put the shield up and try and get away. And then once that's done, try and get the speed and run away to use your heal coil to heal yourself. And if an ally is low, you can use your heals to heal them. If you have a medkit or a vine staff, I would recommend not using unless they're if okay. I should specify if the medkit or vine staff are good. I would recommend. I personally wouldn't use my healing coil as much, and a much better one would be not gravity speed. Especially if you're playing a character like Banhammer or Katana that are just naturally slower. But if you have a competent medkit or bind staff, then I wouldn't use healing because they're already doing that. I would do speed on other people and healing on them. Um, and then his finisher is Fusion Coil, where he charges forward and hits someone, does that, and does really good damage, has high attack power. Its M2 does that, and that. You don't get to use it for that long, and it instantly breaks your tether, and you can't tether someone while you're in fusion, so be careful so that you don't just let someone die on accident. And also, you can still be killed while you're in fusion, so make sure you use fusion when you know you're able to use it most effectively. Uh, anyways, that is all the fighters. Um, if you're trying to play a melee character, I'd recommend starting off with sword or bandhammer. If you're trying to play a ranged character, I'd recommend rocket or slingshot. And if you're trying to play a support character, I'd recommend subspace or vine staff. And my least favorite fighter, and my favorite fighter is vine staff, and my least favorite one is biograph. Um, so that's all. This game is really, really, really good, and I can't recommend it more. Um, if you're fine with playing Roblox, I know there's a lot of stuff that's going on at Roblox right now that I would prefer to not talk about. But if you're fine with playing Roblox right now, fighting is like a really good pick that I would recommend. I would recommend playing. Um, the maps are really good. The characters are like really funny. Um, the characters are pretty funny. Um, it's not like Block Tales where it's all the characters that you talk, all like the random NPCs that you talk to are just humorous. Like but like if you just talk to a random character, it's probably gonna try and be funny. The music is peak. Most of it is made by Key After Key. He's really, really good. He's really, really good at making music. My favorite song from him is Iron Horse, by the way. And yeah, I just genuinely can't recommend the game enough. If this video made even one person want to play fighting, I am happy. That just makes me overjoyed because the game is kind of not that popular right now. It averages like 1,000 players, which is still good, but it should be like 80. It should be like 1,000,000 players. Like I swear, bro. If you're a beginner, real quick tip: do not play in the beginner lobbies because most of those lobbies you get less XP. And most of those lobbies are not filled with beginners. They're filled with sweats that are trying to rub it in how good they are against the beginners that try and play in beginner mode. I would just recommend playing it open, even though it's uh, sometimes it's gonna feel a lot harder because if you're playing an open, if you just keep trying to play a character that you like, I guarantee you, even if you're playing an open, if you are actually trying to play the character, then I guarantee you, you will get better at that character. Um, so don't feel discouraged whenever you get like 10th place, because you know you're still learning, and even if you're like level 200 and you're not pulling MVP every single round, it's fine. The game is just for fun. You shouldn't be trying to like be the best there ever was unless you want to do that. If you're just playing casually and you're not trying to be super super competitive about it, it doesn't matter if you don't get MVP every round. So don't let that like despirit you from playing the game, because you should just keep playing it. I guarantee you, you will get better every match you play. Um, but yeah, that is my fighting video. I hope you enjoyed the tutorial for the characters. If you want to see me go over a tutorial for another game that's like this, then let me know. If I missed anything up, anything about any of the moves, then let me know, please. I want to fix that mistake so that I know how to play that character better in the future. And it's kind of the video. Peace, I guess.